All right, welcome, folks, to another episode of the Weekly Tangent. We're here. We're a little bit late. We were a few minutes behind.
You would never guess. Minor technical difficulty.
All right. It's just streaming in general. It's a minor technical difficulty to stream anywhere, anytime. Except for people that do it for a living, I'm sure. They don't have to worry. But we do. And we got it fixed, but there's a lot that we've been doing all week long. Yeah, it's been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy at the office. Had a lot of games coming in. Had a lot of games going up. We kind of talked about it a little bit last week, all the Bethesda stuff, right? So we've still been chipping away at that.
Yeah, we've been hanging out and doing all that work. We finally got to the Fallout week. That's what we're talking here today because that's the really interesting component. We've got Fallout, the full franchise, deploying on WildTangent all week long.
Yep.
I think on Monday we had the collection go, and then we had... So the collection went out, and then we had... What else did we have? We had... Fallout 1, 2, and Brotherhood of Steel Tactics go out on Tuesday. And then we had Fallout 3, the Game of the Year edition, go out on Wednesday. And then today, you should be able to see it on Wild Tangent. It's Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and Fallout... Did we do VR?
Maybe. No, not yet.
Not yet. Fallout 4
not
VR
yet.
is tomorrow. So, yeah, that's been a full week of getting those deployed and working with our new partner. But that's just in our world. I mean, plenty of stuff going on in the gaming industry today. As always.
It's been kind of an interesting week. Or I guess the last couple weeks, so if we're going to circle back around, that Nintendo sneakily is going to drop their VR stuff on Monday.
On Monday, you're going to be able to play what we'd all envisioned. I think everybody on the internet had envisioned, you dock the Switch somehow into your head, and you can play with the little Joy-Cons to maneuver yourself. It's basically like a portable VR system without the actual goggles, right?
Right.
I think everybody saw that coming. Sony's taken probably the lead on all VR.
Sure.
Outside of PC in general. And really Steam does it, and Oculus does it, and Facebook, Oculus and Facebook together, and Samsung and Oculus, and, there's so many different types of VR scenarios. But for console, it's been Sony right at the forefront. We've got a headset, we've got the way to play it.
Right.
You've got the power to play
Especially after Microsoft was like, we're going to have it, and then kind of backed off.
Yeah, just basically walked away from the table.
And I remember seeing the Labo, the original kits.
Yep.
And I remember my office was right next to yours when we were over in Redmond. And I remember walking in, and we both looked at that and said, cardboard.
Yep.
Cardboard.
Google Cardboard was going to be resurrected.
Yep.
And you would have your kit. I don't think we considered that there is no gyroscope in the actual screen.
Which I think is why you have to have...
You have to have the little controllers on the unit to be able to do it correctly. And if you've never seen this, you know what? We can actually pull up a picture of this.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things I don't think we took into consideration when we were talking about it, was that you would have to have some kind of gyroscope connected. And
which phones with cardboard all have
already have that today. And it's kind of inherently built into it. So I'm looking for an actual image of one because, it's kind of all over the place now. I mean, Gizmodo, everybody's talking about it. It's getting close. Here's a perfect image. Let's pull this up. This is from Kotaku. Let's make we can just add it to where we're sitting here right now. We'll just do a little, what do we want? Screen cap? We don't have it set up that way. That's the way we should have had it set up. Let's do this. Oops. We'll just grab it and throw it up on there. But yeah, I mean, there is plastic in it, funny enough. It's actually there's plastic and glass, which are well-built pieces of it. You have to kind of have something nice. So now we can add it as a media source. And where did that image go? I just had it.
Get your downloads folder.
Oh, it went to downloads. Nope. I put it somewhere. Maybe under pictures. Nope. Videos. Nope. I don't know where it went to. Why would it do that to me? Let's try it one more time.
Oh, it downloaded as a web file, not an image file. That's why.
Oh, even though it says save image?
So if you go open image in new tab.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that. And just drop it in there. You know what? Regardless, it's not that important.
Sure.
But you've got the little ears on it right up here. And right now, the cool thing is they're adding in Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right? That's kind of a neat thing. The way that they're going about it is not necessarily the case, right? Because they haven't explained a lot of it yet. But essentially, you've got the new Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. You've got the ability to play it with it here, but you've got no way to hook it on your head. So that's a long-ass game to hold it in your hand.
Yeah, and it's different. So my understanding of how this all plays out is
let's throw it up on here.
The Mario stuff is more a VR experience.
Right.
Whereas it sounds like what they did with Zelda was it is the full game playable, and now your camera is what you move like this.
Yeah, which I can see is kind of okay. Here's what we were talking about. That's what the Labo looks like. And that's how you have to play it to be able to move in the space, right? To be able to go like this,
right? You
have to have the Joy-Cons on the unit because that's what's going to determine positioning because of movement.
Right.
So,
and then here's what I find curious about this. Couldn't they have kept this as is and made the assumption that you've now got so you have a controller that's got that gyro in it as well, and I get what they want, but it seems like an odd thing to have, we've got gyro here, gyro here, and gyro in your hands, but not in the tablet itself.
What makes me kind of think about it is you could take a Pro controller here in your hand. Mm-hmm. That's an extra cost, right? I think they probably have enough old Nintendo Power sweatbands from the 80s that they could strap this thing on your head with. That's not a problem. I think it's how do you get the controller, like you're saying,
right,
into the person's hands to be able to look around with their head, but still control Link with a normal control scheme that fits.
My immediate reaction to this is twofold. A, someone on the internet is going to come up with something crafty. I think for this.
I think so too, yeah.
But initially, I'll look forward to checking this out next week. I can't see myself playing with it for more than a few minutes.
Yeah.
That I definitely want to check it out, but holding it like this, I don't know, that doesn't...
Well, we'll definitely have it here in the office. So we're picking one up on Monday, play around with it, see what it looks like. There's two different versions that you'll be able to buy this. You'll be able to buy the one that basically just gives you this.
Right.
I think it's this. No, it's like the gun-looking thing. There's a couple different ones here. I think we can pull them up on screen. So the one kit will include all of this, and this is the most expensive one. This is $69. Mm-hmm. You get to build all these things, plus you get this thing. The other kit is just this part, I think. Just this missile launcher.
It's like the starter kit?
I think that's the starter kit.
Okay.
I want to say that's the starter kit. And that's for $39. So, this is what it's going to look like. And then it's going to, get thrown into a shredder or something like that. But that's pretty funny. That is really funny. There's really good, good renditions of how they believe it will be. Actually, no, that's not it either. I thought the $39 one, I thought was just this unit. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think, obviously we'll throw some money at it and go for the $69 one and, be able to see the full meal deal kind of thing. I think that'll be the best way to go about it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't doubt within a week to 2 weeks, a company on Alibaba will be selling a plastic version of this with a headband that you can strap on and you can just drop the switch in.
The only thing I wonder about is will it even take 2 weeks? What's to say that
it's not
the day of
built,
or
That's true. That is very true. What else we got?
Well, so then if you want to flip the coin on this, and I guess we'll take this is kind of what Nintendo's doing. That Sony spec leak came out from the unnamed source for a European developer who's been working on a PS5 AAA launch title for allegedly 8 months. So he went ahead and he dropped the whole spec list out on it. We're looking at about 24 gigs of RAM. We were looking at it's going to come with like a new PSVR 2.
Yep.
The thing
comes I don't think I argue with that.
No,
we talked about it last night. Or yesterday we were talking about like, don't try to shove like what is a mediocre VR experience into a system you want to be the flagship.
Right.
Yeah. Of like the VR next level. So I know people want the value of like I already own a headset. Can I just plug it into my PS5 and go?
Right.
I think I'd rather make sure that it's a good, positive experience.
I expect that Sony will want to very much control exactly what people will be plugging in.
Yeah.
Would be my estimation. One thing that was curious was we talked about that leaked controller with the camera in it.
Yep.
That very much looks to be some type of perhaps VR satellite that you go place in a room.
I did think about that.
Which is right.
I mean, because we're fortunate enough, both Brooks and I have a PSVR right now. I've got the Vive.
Yep.
And then you've got the one for the phone you have, the Pixel.
Oh,
like a mobile
one,
Daydream or whatever. Yeah. We've got a lot of experience around VR. We've been buying games, playing games.
Just been checking them as they've been coming out.
Coming out. And the Vive, talking about like Fallout VR down the road here, the Vive is pretty cool. I was down on the Vive for the past like year. I hadn't really messed around with it. I've owned the thing since launch. I'm still really big on PSVR. I think it's probably amazing. One of the best headsets out there. And solutions and games and all that. But that lighthouse, having another unit to be able to determine like your position, that is where Vive like excels.
And right? You can really you can take like not just one or two steps, but you can
wander around a room and you can duck up and down and things like that. There's a big difference in that. So I'm glad to hear that. I kind of think though, just putting a screen on a controller is crap. I don't believe in that. Dreamcast failed. Wii U failed. Don't tell me on this like screen on a controller is going to be the next thing.
Right. So. Yeah, I'm not. It's funny because we were talking about it outside the cast, and we looked at that control, and we were all like, okay, maybe, perhaps. So it's just interesting to see sort of like a rumor. An alleged rumor.
Did they talk anything about like what's in it?
Like processor wise?
Yeah, like are we talking about the speed of like an i7 or
I think
an old i7?
14 teraflops was what they kind of initially. So it's like an 8-core processor, 24 gigs of RAM.
8-core makes sense. All right.
24 gigs of RAM.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
That seems really high when the last one had like. I don't know.
Before
what
the
was
Pro,
it? Like
8?
4?
I think it's 8.
The original PS4 I thought was 4 gigabytes of RAM. And the PS Pro maybe took it to 8.
Okay.
To see 24, like systems before that, like the PS3 was like 500 megabytes.
So it was 8, but
it was 8.
Yeah. But even
what I mean?
4 or 6 to 8 or even 10 to 24, I mean, hey, if you want to do it, I'm not
yeah, don't stop. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, that seems a little, I don't know. Some of the specs end up being, like, just call me, like, sarcastic on that. Or just, I'm just being a little bit more cautious about this than agreeing.
I'm having a little bit of fun with, like, what would it be like if, so.
I mean, they've got probably, is it a disc-based machine? Is that what he's saying?
It does take discs, is what he says.
Right.
He also leaked out that there is a now second version of PlayStation Plus, which has a lot to do around alphas, betas, private servers, communities. So
I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm into that. I like PS Plus the way it is, but hey, I mean, make something better.
If they want to add some bells and whistles and charge
Sure.
a little bit more, I guess.
I still think today what they should do is go grab a PS Plus membership, grab a PS Now membership, grab a PS4, and bundle it all together for $45, something like that
A month, right? We've talked about this.
Or maybe even less now, 30 a month, and there you go. There's you can play a ton of stuff. You can play it on a good machine. You can watch Blu-rays. You can watch stream stuff, and it's built for value, right? Instead of somebody having to go out and spend what potentially would be we'll say you don't find a deal on PS Plus or PS Now. That's $160 there.
Yep.
Plus another $250 for a PS4. So, you're looking at about $400.
Right.
You could essentially pay 15, 20, whatever it is a month over a period of years, 3 years. That would get them a little bit of life. I don't know. I just kind of see it as a missed opportunity.
It'll be, I think he came out and claimed that they backed out of E3 because Sony's doing their own summer event. Which
Sure.
I think I can believe that, especially after they kind of canceled the PlayStation Experience last December.
Yeah, no, that's true. They've been making some adjustments, which makes sense.
He listed as a $499 machine, maybe a little more expensive than I thought.
Ooh, that's the PS3 price right there.
Part of me wonders.
Not 3DO price though. Not $799.
Part of me wonders if the reason this machine is as expensive and beefy looking as it is, because the specs make it look pretty beefy, and the price, it makes me wonder if next time around, out the gate, we're not going to do a PS5 and a PS5 Pro, because Pro kind of got introduced mid-generation.
Right.
And there'd been open speculation whether they have an enhanced system out the gate, and as far as making games are concerned, especially looking at these specs of 120 hertz, 60 FPS, 4K, have one machine with one headset that does advertise. Don't come out the gate and try to confuse in advance. Do I need a regular PlayStation 5? Do I need a regular PlayStation 5 Pro? Does my old headset work with my new PlayStation? Type
Yeah,
questions.
I'm kind of wondering if that becomes the norm for whatever periods are left of actual physical hardware. I don't know. I mean, this will be the 9th generation, I think, of consoles. I think it's the 9th generation. I think 8th is PS4, Xbox One, 7th was PS3, and so forth.
Okay.
I think that we're probably going to continue to see this normal and pro version a few years down the road after it launches.
Which I don't mind a few years down the road. I'm just curious if right out the gate they want to just have one machine.
Right.
So.
Right. Let's see. God, there was so much going on today. I mean, or going on this week. It wasn't just the consoles and the specs and the new items.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been controversies left and right.
Yeah,
popping up.
I think the last thing that we were sort of itching to touch base on was this whole. We've talked about this a couple times. We rushed home the night it came out to go play it. There is a certain section of the internet that strongly believes Sekiro needs to make an easy mode for the game.
Yeah.
And we've talked to a bunch of people that own this. We own this. We've been playing this. Our friends have been playing this. Do you have a firm position on this?
It's kind of funny. I mean, I think initially it started out there wasn't Paul Tassi, was it?
Not in that he was not the first. He
jumped on the bandwagon when the getting looked good.
Yeah, right.
And he jumped on there kind of talking about it's too difficult. It needs to have a mode that's accessible, and I think there was that word accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm in agreement with other people that have kind of brought it up. easy mode is not necessarily an accessible mode.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just play the game without the concern of dying. And there are certain games that play well to that. And it's because you want to find everything out. You want to let's just say this, like the Dark Souls franchise. If you ever watch Matt Pat's game theory on Dark Souls, the games are not easy to understand, even when you've beat them multiple times each in that entire franchise, to understand the connections of the story.
Oh, the system is opaque. The items are opaque.
Oh, and
they
don't even give you information on the items
right.
unless you go way back and you read like the very little detail on each item that you come across, and that tells the story even deeper.
And it's not like the game informs you that that's even a thing you can do.
This is not an easy game to understand. It's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be something for everybody. I don't think it's fair against the developer to create something like that.
Sure.
Because if that's the case, then I'm going to go after Return to the Obra Dinn and say, you made the damn mysteries so hard I can't figure them out.
Sure.
You should have just gave me the answers as I was walking around the ship and just told me, no, you're doing something wrong. Make it like the easy mode on Sudoku, where it puts like the red letter instead of the black letter, right?
Right.
That's the kind of thing. And I just cannot get around the argument of there needs to be an easy mode in every game. It's not everything is meant to be that way, right? Not everybody's meant to play on the Mariners, although they act like it now. But I mean, like the Seattle Mariners, like
sure.
You're not, just because you can hit a ball doesn't mean you get to come right up from the minors right into the majors.
Right.
I don't understand the argument around this. I think that the get good thing is just an insult to most people, and it is. I don't say that to people. I'm just like, it may not be your game.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not great at anything, but I sit there and play it, and I don't mind failing. I don't know. It's just the way I feel about it. It's not as important. If you've got to worry about a game being on easy and you being able to complete it, it's almost kind of like saying, well, you're making that argument to just allow anybody to enjoy everything. I understand that that's what we want, but that's not always how it works.
Yeah, I guess what I find most difficult about this is there were some people that bought the game and thought it was challenging.
Yeah, of course.
And then I think what happened was some people saw an opportunity to make a little bit of noise.
Of course.
And I don't know who that serves well other than the people making noise, because at the end of the day, Miyazaki he's a game designer, he's a game director, he's going to make a game. I don't think he even cares, to tell you the absolute truth, about what the rah-rah on the internet's about. And
I would hope that he's paid enough to not worry about it.
Well, sure, yeah.
Right? Like, you get enough compensation off there that you can just go, you know what, if you don't want to play it, don't buy it. That's the best that's the best way to do anything in life. If you don't like it, don't pay for it.
Right. And at this point, I've heard another criticism, which is just, what about people that are unfamiliar with From Software's track record of making difficult games, that just so happened to buy a From Software game, had never heard anything about previous games, or what the previous games were like, and were like blindsided by, I know two people that outright bought this game, never played Souls, neither of them seem to have any problem with it.
Sure.
And I'm trying to understand who that group of people is, because that also sounds like a very vocal minority, because From Software is, it's hard to go read about this game, and right next to the marketing, it's like, From Software, makers of blah, 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 right?
Yeah, you can easily find out. And even if that's the case, in most, let's just say if you bought it on Steam, they refund it within 2 hours, right? You can play it for 2 hours, and by that point, you're going to get frustrated.
Right.
If it's bothering you this much that you can't continue on, you feel it's not worth your money, you can get a refund. Now, I have heard the other side of the argument about accessibility.
Sure.
Which is different, and which is far more reasonable. It's not, if you, God forbid, can't use your hands or something of that nature, there needs to be ways. Correct. If you can't use them in the way that it was designed for, they should make alternative controls.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Or a way to engage with it that it doesn't take away from what the developer envisioned. Because I think when you make it easier, well, they didn't envision it to be easy. If you make it accessible in the difficulty level that you would design the game around, that's a different story.
Sure.
But to ask somebody to change a vision, it's like asking somebody that really, it's like the argument that everybody used to make to Roger Ebert, that games aren't art.
Right.
Right? And everybody go, well, they are art. Well, then, if you're going to call it art, you have to let the artist who designed it make it in their vision.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't have it both ways.
Not every movie is PG-13.
Right. And not everything is built for everyone.
Not every book is 50 pages. Yep. Right. And
I think that's where it is.
And I guess maybe I think I'm probably closer to the end than not. I've slammed through probably 30 bosses.
Yeah, you played it all the ways. I mean, I'm still I've got a decent amount of time in it, probably 20 hours, but I only feel like I'm at the beginning of it almost, like quarter of the way through.
And part of me is like, I'm ready for this to be the new formula. I'm all in on this difficulty of like, you get a couple items that are good, but you can't really, in the Souls games, if I got stuck on a boss, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to go farm low level. We'll
that's the way
stack some biles. We'll level up. We'll get some attack power. It's a little different in this game, but I very much have enjoyed. I've said this to you a couple times when I came in. I'm like, this is the best boss I've ever played. 2 days later, this is the best boss I've ever played. 2 days later, this is the best boss I've ever played. That when you go through and you get to a point where you've learned, you understand, and you take the boss down, it is more satisfying than some of the boss kills in, not even just other From games, just in general, like the sense of accomplishment of like multiple hours on a fight of like learning, and so. Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hope that there's a better way that we move towards these types of things, and that social media doesn't drag it into the flame any more than it should be. Right, as we move forward, because I don't want to see somebody's vision change because the mass populace wants it to change, and there's no other reason than just somebody's looking for attention.
Right.
It's not good for the industry.
I completely agree with you.
It's not good for any industry or anything. Let's jump into some Fallout, since we've been yammering on for more than a half hour. We wanted to do a podcast show, so we're still trying to feel that out even on this beginning of the show. So first game we've got is Fallout 1. So this one launched, and I don't know if everybody has played Fallout games. But, and we've got to turn, if you wonder why I turned the audio down, we don't want to get hit with a strike against the channel.
Right.
Fallout, they're known for putting in great music into an environment that you want to play in, that you're like, this, I never liked music from the 1930s, but I love this, right? But they're definitely, you'll get content strikes on YouTube on your channel, and we don't want that. So the intro plays, lovely music as you're going through it, but it kind of gets you into what the vision of Fallout, the franchise, would become, and this is from Interplay. So it's a Bethesda game now.
It is now.
In highway robbery, but
we'll get to that in a moment.
It was Interplay back in '97, I think, is when it came out, and it was predominantly PC only. Well, it was PC only, and it was a look at how strategy RPG could be introduced to players here in the US, I think, really, is what it came down to. It was trying to get, like, different gameplay into a very heavy story.
Yep.
And get it into people's hands. And the story that you get out of this, I mean, essentially, nuclear war happens. 2 hours later, the Earth is basically destroyed.
Yep.
You know, civilizations are destroyed. And there was companies, Vault-Tec, going out and building these vaults for the coming apocalypse.
Right.
Right. And this is all in a, you know, obviously in a alternative reality of things. The war started in 2077, or the day the bombs dropped was 2077, I believe. They were still using like tech from the 50s, or like everything looked like it was in the 1950s.
Okay.
So the alternative timeline went in a direction of like, we're stuck in the 50s. Everything is based upon nuclear power. Like you had nuclear powered cars, you had nuclear powered robots that helped in your house.
Yep.
You had nuclear powered refrigerators. That's all it was, right? It was like nuclear power. And that's how it lasted so long. So when you get to the war actually happening, or the bombs dropping, everybody shuffles in the vault, and then essentially you've got to come out of the vault. In every Fallout, this is the same way, except for Fallout New Vegas.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which, Fallout New Vegas and Fallout Tactics. Both of those, there is... Well, even Fallout 2, there's no vault in the beginning that you're involved with. The story shows something. We'll talk about it here shortly. I guess you can't really say in a blanket statement there's no vaults in all of them, but there are vaults in majority of like 1, 3, 5, and 4. Well, not 5. Fallout 76 4. So it's a very interesting story that you go through. You're able to customize your character. You early on, even before on the first game, they had a lot of things locked down. The artwork, the special, where you could create your character using special, which is you had to set attributes for strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. So they've carried that the whole way through the franchise.
Still to this day.
Even into Bethesda's hands. Yep. And then you could pick perks or abilities. I think they might have called it back. Skills, they called it back then. I think they called it perks now. And then you had like optional traits and things like that. So you could choose male, female. You could customize kind of the facial features. Obviously, it was more limited in Fallout 1. But essentially in Fallout 1, you kind of kick off. I'll turn it back up now. I think the song's over. And we've got a water chip problem in the vault. You're running out of water. You're running out of the ability to clean water, purify water.
Okay.
You've been underground. I forget at this one how long. Some are 200 years. Some are 25 years was the least, right? That was Fallout 76.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, some of them they didn't all open at the same time.
Yeah.
Either, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're getting your orders to head out into the wasteland to go find your chip.
Were they still running experiments to everybody in the vault?
Yes.
This game? They were. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was as drawn out as it is today, but yes, I think you find some information as you go that tells you there was experiments running from Vault-Tec. So, and they were basically like Vault-Tec. The only one that like really didn't have an experiment was Fallout 76, so 111, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Is that 111? 101 was in Fallout 3.
Don't quote me on that.
I think it's Fallout Vault 111. No, Vault 76 is what it is. That's what it is. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Vault 76 is the one that you were in Fallout 76.
I thought it also... Okay.
Because that's where you start at.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, like, that's the only one that there wasn't an experiment running.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware. Like, there was
and that was whether there was vaults that were, like, had, like, different mixes of people or different classes of people or different, like, political beliefs, or some vaults would have, like, only women or only men or something along those lines.
Then there was the vault where everybody was rich.
Sure.
And that was in Fallout 4. Or no, everybody was rich, and then there was like a poor section of the vault. And like they didn't know about each other until they had to. It was kind of weird. And then there was a vault where everybody's named Gary and everybody's a clone.
Right.
Right. There was all these weird, different trials that they were doing, but Vault 101 was they were never coming out of the vault. It was never to open. That was in Fallout 3.
Okay.
So, yeah, lots of different things. The lore in the game is extremely long and it's very detailed, and you can have a great time reading through it. There's some places where you can get, I think on the internet, you can go find the Fallout Bible, I think it's called, or the Vault Dweller Bible, one of the two, and it's full of information. It's like hundreds of pages, 100 plus pages of detailed information. Digitally, you can get it. So very, very full of it. You know, this game here, the beginning, you can kind of see it's like an isometric tactical RPG almost in a way, where you can only move so far.
Yep.
Until you run out of like action points, and then if you choose not to go too far, you might be able to shoot, but that uses X amount of action points and so forth. And you go. It's very much a game built in the 90s. At the end of the 90s, you're not looking at like amazing graphics, but at the time it was pretty cool to
Definitely.
play.
Yeah.
It was very cool. And thankfully, instead of letting it disappear into the nether realm, Bethesda acquired the rights from Interplay for the franchise, and still today distribute Fallout 1, 2, and Brotherhood of Steel Tactics.
They bought the franchise for $5.75 million with an M dollars.
I know. If you'd have said 5.75 billion, you'd probably be like, "Wow, they could still make money on this."
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's got to be. I don't know the exact details in the numbers, but I mean, the entire franchise now has to be over $1 billion.
Oh,
in revenue.
Yeah,
to them. It's a fantastic franchise that allows you to let your imagination run wild.
It's kind of interesting to go back, because when we were kind of chopped up the videos and we'd been talking about it, I know a lot of people who their first experience with Fallout 3 was kind of when it came to console for the first time.
Yep.
Right? So it's kind of interesting that there's this story of how it got to, because, you know, it used to be a strategy RPG, and now, while those elements are still in the game, there's also, you've got the Vats and, you know, the first person perspective. So it's an interesting story to go back and look at like where they started, what happened, and how we got to where we're at now.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
So
I want to say we'll call it good on Fallout. Let's go check out Fallout 2 quickly.
Yep.
So Fallout 2, again, we got to turn the audio down. Because again, they all start with the same kind of idea. Even Fallout 3, even Fallout 4, they've got a unique soundtrack to them. I'm sure everybody that's watched all the ads that were Fallout 76 know the exact words to West Virginia. What was the song called?
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, it kills me. It's a John Denver song, Country Roads.
Is that what it is?
Country Roads, Take Me Home. Yeah. Yeah, so they all do this, and Fallout 2 is no exception. It's another isometric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Strategic RPG, you know, tactical RPG, heavy on the story, very funny with the characters they put in. There's actually a character that you see in Fallout 1, 2, and then he even makes it into 3, which is when Bethesda took over.
Right.
And Harold follows you the whole way through, and you end up running into him, and he's a funny character, and it's just they try to make it. There's never Todd Howard and the development staff over there have tried to carry over almost everything that made Fallout unique.
It's fun the way that they throw the little nods in.
They do
as well,
yeah.
to people that like I've played a tremendous amount of 3 and Vegas and 4 and 76. I came to Fallout a little bit. I was kind of young when the initial ones came out, so I don't have a tremendous amount of experience in 1 and 2, but for people that have played all of them, it's super cool that, when you're there from the start, that they still remember that you're with them, right?
Yeah, and I think that mainly, even with Vats being included in the new versions, because Vats was in, Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, Fallout 3, it brings you into that first-person, third-person perspective, like behind the shoulder. You can switch in between, but it also keeps things like Vats, where it becomes that, that strategy role-playing game. Although it doesn't necessarily like throw it at you like crazy. It slows time down or it stops things. You can choose what body part to aim at. You can see the damage it's going to do. You can let the action points fly. And then you can go right back into Vats when it's the end of your turn, on to the next turn, right?
Yep.
So here, they've given you 3 different characters to start out with. And in Fallout 2, you actually get to choose that character, and you're basically I want to say like a native.
You're primitive.
You're primitive,
right?
Yeah. And you're not in the vault. You might have been a vault dweller. There's not anything we're going to ruin the story for you here. But at that point, you're kind of hearing how bad the lands are and like what's gone wrong.
Right.
And they first talk about a GECK, the Garden of Eden Creation Kit.
Yep.
The GECK allows a user of it to turn anything into a beautiful, vibrant utopia.
Right.
Right. Essentially, like grass grows, trees grow, blah 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 blah.
It's supposed to be kind of the start of a society.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I mean.
It's like to rebuild society. And that's kind of what the GECK, they envisioned it look like. And funny enough, I think it kind of stayed true to that as it went through even. But the Garden of Eden Creation Kit in Fallout 3 was the modding options. It was the modding kit. That's what they called the mod, the ability to mod.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's how smart they are. They really tie everything together,
Right.
And the nods are there, like you said. It's an excellent. It's just an excellent like homage to the franchise itself for gamers that remember it, and then people going forward. I think what we want to do is then, because really the gameplay looks very similar. There's not a huge difference here in what you're playing in 1 to 2. And there's even a third one of the original series called the Fallout Brotherhood of Steel Tactics. Same type of gameplay, a little bit different story. You're part of the Brotherhood of Steel.
Graphics were certainly enhanced for the time.
It did come up, yeah. I mean, there was some definitely increase and things like that. So we've got those 3 available today. But I think probably what we wanted to do was talk a little bit about the newer ones. And then show some Fallout.
Yeah, I think then we're going to play a little bit as well.
Fallout 4. The one thing I brought in to show for show and tell children is one more Fallout game. Well, this is not the only one. I know that the text is backwards, but it's Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, and this was available on console. It plays differently. It's more like a action RPG.
I have only seen this. I have not even played this before.
It's definitely unique. The other game that you can find in the Fallout franchise is Fallout Shelter.
Yeah.
So Fallout Shelter is a free game you can get on your mobiles. You can go to Windows Store and get it. You can play it on every console.
I think it's free.
It's free.
On all the
Yeah,
consoles.
it's free.
Yeah.
It's got in-app purchase, but it's built to be like you're building a vault inside of a mountain, and you can send them out into the wasteland and do all sorts of fun stuff.
It's, not dissimilar from what we were talking about with kind of the way they've built stories and built games and are always referencing back to old stuff. It was a fun way, because in the Fallout games, you're always typically kind of like you're in a place and you're going outward, and it's kind of a grand adventure, whereas with Shelter, it's really about doing something you haven't done, which is building a vault.
Right.
Because usually you're hightailing it out of the vault.
Right, and that was kind of a lead-in. They made that game right before, the year before Fallout 4 came out. And Fallout 4 was about building.
It was
it was a new feature added in where you could build your bases and build, shelters for your people and stuff like that. So it was kind of a lead into it.
Yep.
But this one's unique. If you ever have a chance to play it, it is not a bad game, but it's hard to find, and it's getting harder to find. And I think it's only available on Xbox, and I think it's available on PS2. I have to look that up, but I think it's.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah. So let's take a look at Fallout 3. Now, this was initially for years. This was one of my favorite games. I went through the entire game, like left and right, and wanted to see everything there was about it. And have a chance to play. Again, I have to turn the volume down on the game music because they just come at you with these. But I had not really played Fallout 1 and 2 when I played this.
Neither did I.
When I played Fallout 3, I played 1 a little bit. Didn't beat it. But when I played Fallout 3, I was just blown away by it. Like, everything you could do in it, you could have all this freedom. It was an open world game. It wasn't GTA.
Right.
It wasn't, these other open world examples. It was kind of an open world where you could go and decide to put this suit of armor together and go grab this stuff and go over here and adventure and go get supplies off of this group and release these slaves from the slave traders. And you could do all sorts of stuff. And it was just hundreds of missions. I don't even know how many missions there are in the game, but there's a lot.
Do you remember our first interactions about this one? I was a youngster at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man, this Fallout 3, I don't know, doesn't really shoot that great.
Don't really see.
Kind of used to Halo or whatever else I was playing at the time.
Yeah.
So it's funny the way that I fell into it, because I had tried 3 and I was like, dude, I don't really know about this thing you're hyping.
Right.
And then it wasn't until Vegas that it all clicked with me. And then I went on that tear where I had done Vegas, every DLC, 3, every DLC. And I mean, I played these like back to back.
Turn this up.
Blood has been spilled in
If you don't know who talks in this video, it's Ron Perlman. From Sons of Anarchy and others. He's been the voice of Fallout up until 76.
In the year 2077,
Yeah, he was with them in the early beginning, and they kept him.
The destructive nature of man.
Dude, good on him.
Yeah.
No longer.
And there's a lot of DLC. So in this edition that you get, this is the Game of Year edition. You get all the DLCs that they had put out with this game, which
but it was not
probably equate to
the end of the world. Instead,
I don't even know. I mean,
the prologue to another bloody
probably
chapter.
well over like 50 hours of content with the base game.
One thing that was really cool was on some of the DLCs would introduce you to a brand new area. Like there was the mothership.
Yeah.
Right. Or you would get to go to the pit or the lookout, right?
Or Anchorage, Operation Anchorage.
Yeah. And it was always really fun because you would. Fallout 3 primarily takes place in and around Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then it was like, what would it be like if Fallout took place in the snow? Right? Which is when you're playing 3, there's not a lot of it in there.
Yep.
Because isn't there one that's kind of a quasi-Pittsburgh? The pit?
Yeah, the pit itself is based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So you traverse that, you kind of get in a little thing and you go. Anchorage, Operation Anchorage takes place in a virtual Anchorage, Alaska.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When the war starts, kind of thing. Point Lookout
the swamp
takes place on the coast of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And then Broken Steel takes place in D.C.
The crashed alien ship in D.C.
Yeah.
And then
Broken Steel was the...
I'm sorry. I was thinking
you're thinking Mothership Zeta.
Yeah.
That takes place in a unique location. And Broken Steel takes place in the Capital Wasteland. Same place where the main game takes place. But it allows you to increase the level.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. So, and it is its own story too. It's not just like, oh, you get to go to like level 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a story along with it. And each of those games probably adds 5 to 10 hours to the game.
That's a
Pretty conservative.
That's a conservative 5 hours
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. They're all great. They all have like some really cool ideas and takes on it, and change the way the game feels. So I was always happy with it. Loved it.
Yeah, it's a. I still remember when I was running through all of that content at once, because I was at that point in my life I was getting like. I had some high political opinions. I was kind of young. I had aspirations. In that setting, like I'm a super big fan of that setting of DC for just about anything, whether it's a book or a TV show. But in a game, it's a really fun setting to. Okay, nuclear war happened. Society is virtually collapsing. Has collapsed. However you want to kind of say that, and it's. When you get there, it's really stunning to see, like, you know, the monument and the Capitol building and all this stuff. Kind of, some of it's not there anymore.
Yeah, disarray. Right? I mean, you've got like the Washington Monument has like chunks of it missing, right, as you go. And they tried to build everything within a reasonable distance. I mean, a lot of it's really close and compact, just because of what they have to deal with or what they have to work with. But
not every side street's in the game.
Not every side. This is not meant to be Division 2.
A simulator,
right? Where it's like Division 2, you can find like where you park in the city.
Sure.
Right? Normally, if you work there. So, it's not meant for that, but it was meant for a representation of what Washington, D.C. would be like in this alternative universe. Mm-hmm. And in a very destroyed state. And don't ever venture too far without trying to map your way in the damn tunnels.
Right.
The subway system can get so confusing in the game. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That one killed me. But, as you've seen in this video, they've kept all the same things. Like, you're still picking your traits. You're picking your perks. You picked your characters. You picked your specials.
There, right.
As a child. You're doing the GOAT, which is going to tell you what your job is, which is basically just a way to allocate your skill points.
Initially.
Right. And you can change them however you want. But they did it in a nice, entertaining way.
Well, it was supposed to be a fun way of, like, without actually going in, and some people might not want to micromanage, I want exactly 1 point of this,
it's almost like
or 1 point of that, right? It's supposed to be like, what's the spirit of your build?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they introduce it to all players on how to kind of, make the build unique to them. So, it's a lot of fun. It gets very interesting. Right now, you start out in the vault in this one. Your father showed up in the vault one night. You find that out, but then you don't know why, and then you end up finding out he's taken off.
Okay.
And
doesn't he leave you something?
He doesn't really leave you anything.
Okay.
But you find some clues.
That's what it
was. That lead you on to the next spot, and so forth. And I think I went through and grabbed footage of like another nuclear bomb being set off in the game.
Right.
I went through and kind of put that in here too. So you get a chance to get the gist of how the game plays. But in this one, instead of playing, as you can see, kind of in the isometric game style or angle, you're able to play first person.
Yep.
In this, or third person with the camera over your shoulder. And you can really push it out farther, but
you can also swap between.
You can switch between them, and it gives you a different perspective on the game than what the original ones were built on.
It was certainly built in a time in when games were being developed when FPS was getting huge.
Oh yeah,
right, and games were becoming less restrictive. A lot of games you could control the camera,
for sure,
control your characters.
Yep.
You had you had non-linear paths and things, and I think I see a lot of that. If you go look at just the time of like what other games were big, that they were like, okay, we want to do something with Fallout, but we feel like it's time to get out of the isometric camera angle, the very heavy strategy, and bring in some fans of whether it was Halo fans or type of thing, right? So
And here you can see we're leaving the vault now.
Yep.
We get a chance to get a good look at what the Capitol Wasteland looks like from afar. You can see the Washington Monument off in the distance there. It looks a little shabby. And then as you make your way through, you still are in this open world of the Capitol Wasteland, but all sorts of crazy things are going to be happening.
You at the top of the hotel right now?
I'm at Tenpenny Tower right now. And you can kind of see... this is something that you can actually do within the first hour of playing the game.
If you see a
You can
spot,
put some hustle on it.
if you see a spot on this map, you can go there.
Yep. There you go. That's
There
a
you go.
nuclear explosion happening in real time.
You know, I didn't like the dude's lip when I rolled in.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Burke.
He's threw in a little attitude around.
Mr. Burke. And you can be evil, you can be good in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's really up to you.
Well, that's
That, by the way, is an evil thing. Setting off another nuke. Just so everybody's aware.
you know, sometimes you need to make decisions.
You do. A call had to be made.
I absolutely loved that in the games where you didn't, very commonplace, and this was, as a time where a lot of this choice and stuff was being thrown around. Some games they would give you good or bad.
Yep.
Or good, neutral, or bad.
Yep.
This one you can talk your way through the game. You can talk your way through entire events in the game without bringing a gun in.
Which is very cool.
You can sneak your way through. You can shoot your way through. You can bribe your way through.
Yep.
So they really grabbed the good or bad. We're like, that's cute. Check out what we're going to do, right?
Yeah, they have some really cool ways of getting you to interact and really making it just an overall great experience.
Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about Fallout New Vegas.
Which, funny enough, this is actually probably my favorite of them. And that's not to say that I don't love the improvements in 4. Yep. And after playing 76, I basically want to forever play Fallout when my friends can join me, right? I loved the way that factions in this game worked.
Yeah.
And I have since been to Las Vegas. I had not ever been to Vegas when I had played this. I mean, shoot, I was like, I don't think I could buy a beer by the time I was playing this game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it was, and having since been there, their imagining of what a chaotic Vegas would look like, it had the grease that it's kind of known for. Speaking of the grease, here we go.
Yeah. Here they are.
But they kept the casinos around. Some of the tech was around. I believe Obsidian worked with them on this.
Obsidian, this is an Obsidian production. Essentially, Bethesda gave Obsidian the ability to create a game, envision and create a game.
While we're making
under the franchise.
While we're making 4, our fans would like a game.
Yeah. And they used the same engine that was basically in 3.
Yep.
A little bit of an upgrade here and there,
Sure.
obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, I question if it was the same engine. I think it was the engine from... well, no, it was the same engine. They gave them the ability to use that, and they basically sent them on their way.
Yep.
Said, make a game. And they came up with a new take on it, which still stays within the lore. It deals with New California Republic, which was actually in the first one.
Okay.
And, they keep it nice and tight. There's nothing really out of whack in this game. I mean, it's all the care and the care and
another society under a different flag.
Handling of the game, of the franchise itself, no matter what game you're playing, has the same amount. There's no difference in you're playing Fallout 1 to Fallout 4. They take that to heart in making the world and the environment and the lore all tie together.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. It's a step beyond obsession, I think, with the Fallout series.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually gone through and tied everything up and made it nice and tight, and like everything fits in, and there's nothing that you can't add to it. And if they do add something, they make sure that they carry forward anything that had happened in the past with that. And it's done extremely well.
Even up to the point where, and I don't think we're going to get too far into it, even when Fallout 76 was announced, they were like, how are you going to do a Fallout game with no humans to interact with?
Yeah, that was a weird one.
That was, and true to that, that still, when you play it, it still makes sense.
Yeah,
so
they do. And you know, we played probably 80 hours, 100 hours of Fallout 76.
Yeah, most certainly.
And don't let people tell you it's a bad game. It's got its own little quirks, but it's a fantastic game to play through.
We had me and you.
Scott and Sarah.
Scott and Sarah were in there. I think Gene might have joined us a couple of times.
Yep.
Dan was losing dinos again or whatever. We had a whole host of people, and like, for all the heat it took of like, maybe this game was a little unstable, we had a tremendous amount of fun playing.
Yeah. So we've gotten to see almost everything in the game, I think.
We played up to
the newest content thing that they're doing now, but
we were touching the end game zones. We were all decked in sick power armor.
Yep.
So
that's true. So Fallout New Vegas, again, very similar to Fallout 3. You get a lot of the same look and feel, but in a different environment. Where you were in the Capital Wasteland, which is Washington, D.C., here you're playing in a world that's in the desert in Nevada around Las Vegas, or New Vegas as they call it. But everything's kind of very similar in the way that you start out. You talk to this doctor. He asks, are you a boy or a girl?
Right.
You know, how's your face feel? You got shot in the head. Does everything look all right? You can change the way you look. Then you kind of set up your skill points, perks, all that stuff.
That was a little bit of a different, that was kind of the hook on this, is instead of leaving the vault, you leave like the grave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, essentially Benny and his henchmen shot you on site for really nothing that was your fault. You were just delivering. You're basically known as the courier in this game. Each of them have their own. So you're the courier in this game. In Fallout 3, you are the lone wanderer. In Fallout 76, you're the lone survivor. And that's what you're known as in the game franchise. In the game series.
And then, and I think something in...
For Fallout 4, you're known as the lone survivor. In 76, I'm not sure what they called that. You're... I don't know what you were in Fallout 76. I don't know. But, yeah, they use that as kind of the moniker. And you're addressed to that when you hear people talking about you on the radio. Because your Pip-Boy that you carry around with you everywhere has a radio built into it, and you can turn on music, and you can listen to, like, little clues that you find in areas or pick up radio signals. But the DJs that are talking on there usually will reference you as...
That's right. The shenanigans you kind of get involved with.
And it depends on if you're good or bad.
Or whatever. That's right.
Yeah. It's really cool.
It also has, and I won't spoil it because we don't see him here, it has one of my favorite Fallout characters in it.
Oh, in Fallout New Vegas?
In New Vegas.
Oh, funny.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's funny. I'd have to think.
That character may or may not be human, too.
Oh, I know who it is. Okay, yeah. No, I think he's good.
That was a fun character to interact with. It was a little different than some of the typical Fallout characters you interact with.
For sure. So let's jump off of here, and we're going to actually play a little bit of Fallout 4.
Cool.
So
you playing for us tonight?
I'll play for a few minutes, and then we can jump back and forth. And essentially, Fallout 4 was the pinnacle of the franchise that's not, the chronological franchises, where you have 1, 2, 3, now 4, 76, New Vegas, Fallout, Brotherhood of Steel Tactics, Fallout Shelter. Those are all, and even that one we showed on here for the Xbox and PlayStation, which is Brotherhood of Steel alone. Those are all kind of offshoots of the main timeline. Right.
So this one takes place in and around Boston.
Yep.
That's where we're at this one.
You are in the Commonwealth, they call it. So let's jump over here.
You're initially trying to make your way to, what do they call it, Diamond City?
Diamond City is
Okay.
the city we're trying to get to.
We'll let you think what that might be.
So
this is a little bit after, you've been playing for a little bit.
I've been playing a little bit. This is about 50 hours in.
Okay.
We've got some nice suits of armor. You know, this, I think this is the Nuka-Cola suit that he has, but he's lost all the armor. Porter Gage is a character you pick up in DLC. So let's kind of head out of here. We're going to fast travel.
In this game,
Been a bit here.
you they kind of added that level of crafting. So you were constantly having this mule with you, your sidekick. I was loading this guy up left and right when I was playing the game. I predominantly played with Mutant. Mutant.
Yeah, he was good.
Mutant.
I kind of jumped around.
Mutant was my
That's what we're looking for.
crafting mule. He was carrying the water.
Yeah.
I was making the water. He was carrying the water. We were selling the water. Everybody was thirsty.
You were the water messiah.
Yep.
That's how we referenced Brooks for a while. Load times, obviously get a little bit bigger in these games because, they were supporting, I think Fallout 4 was one of the first games to support 4K upscaled resolution and art assets.
I wouldn't doubt it.
They pushed it out right after PlayStation Pro came out. Maybe about a month later.
That's right.
And they had done an HD, they called it an HD pack, but essentially it was moving up the assets to 4K.
The game was already HD to begin with.
Yeah,
right?
it was already 1080p. So this is Diamond City here. You don't find this until a little bit further into the game, maybe about 5 hours.
Yeah, so
You can make it to a lot of things in very short time if you just hustle through and run.
Oh man, I remember starting playing, and my first objective was to put down camp, and I started exploring.
Yep.
So people wanted to talk, I didn't want to talk.
Nope, ignore them.
So this was they took over Fenway Park. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Diamond City, Boston, Fenway Park, that's the whole
idea where they're at. And essentially, there's a town in there, and that's where basically everything thrives. It's almost like a little miniature city inside
That's where
the old city.
The mayor resides in Diamond City.
Yes. Yeah, the mayor resides there, and he's kind of like, his job is to protect everybody and keep them all humming along and getting trading coming in and out of the Diamond City area. But we're not worried about this right now. We're just going to keep on rolling. We're going to go check out somebody's house for some information. Side mission here.
I did like how you could build your little settlements, and then you could build the lanes to all of them for like inner trading and inner sharing or whatever you want to call it.
I don't know if we'll have a chance, but if we do, we might be able to go check out one of the... I don't know if I have anything built in this area or not, in this game. But we can, maybe spend a few moments, go check that out.
Whose door are you going to knock down here?
Where am I going? Am I supposed to be in the park? Or in, let's do a little bit, let's get a little bit closer. I think I might need to be inside Diamond City. Yes, I do. That was my mistake. We need to be inside Diamond City. I thought it was right outside.
The number of times I've been playing a game and I'm like, oh, the quest is outside. The quest was inside.
Yeah,
the door was outside. The door was inside.
You've got to really look at all the information that the game gives you to determine some things sometimes. Like, it's going to give you a little bit of an insight of like, oh, this monster is going to be hiding in this sector.
Right.
And you've got to dig around until you find it. And they give you like cool little art assets you can play around with. I'm moving this like little comic book. You can be able to take a closer look at it or further away. And they put like all sorts of like 3D models in there of like the guns, the enemies, so forth.
It's a really fun sense of freedom, and if you've never played one of these games, you could go up right now, pull up a gun, and you could go rob this town if you really wanted to.
Yeah, we could start all sorts of problems.
If you thought you could get away with it, you could do it. So it's a really fun... I don't think you can kill the mayor. I think the mayor is immune, but very few characters are unkillable in this game.
Yeah.
So if you're on a quest line that requires some help and...
We're going to let this guy go by. He was wondering why I was going to pick a lock.
I don't know why he was asking me questions.
So we're going to try this again. So the lock picking thing is a big deal in Bethesda games for like Elder Scrolls and for Fallout.
Yep, it's in all of them.
You have a lock pick here, which is your left stick. And then you've got your right stick here that controls the other one, and you just have to find the sweet spot. And the controller vibrates. Now you can make a mistake like a few times before the lockpick breaks.
For the bobby pin or whatever.
Or the bobby pin.
Yeah.
But I've got plenty. I've got like 99 in this game, so no problem here. So essentially we've got to look in this area. I don't think it's the hot plate that we're after. I think we're actually just... Hold on, let's see here.
Isn't there an upstairs in here?
There might be. So we're looking into the disappearing act. So we've got into Earl Sterling's house. We need to search his house for clues. Let's see. What would be a clue? Not the refrigerator. Not that. Got a lot of cigarettes. There might be an upstairs. Can we open this? We'll take a couple things there. Cigar box. You can take stuff. Now, I'm overweight. I can feel it. Didn't take too long to be over encumbered. We're going to drop some weight here. You have weight, and you can have survival scenarios impact your play, like if you don't eat or drink enough.
See, I've always pushed the difficulty up. I've never played on the survival mode though.
Yeah.
It's always been a little too pressing for me in my style of how
I fell.
my style of this game is I'm taking over Diamond City.
Yeah, you're here to conquer.
I'm over here, I'm taking over. Everyone's thirsty. I got a water plant outside. We bottle water, we sell water.
Doesn't have anything. Huh.
Bad intel?
That does sound odd. I don't think it's bad intel. I'm just wondering if it's hidden in here or what we're looking for is hidden. We're going to keep like going up against things and checking everything out. He was hiding something. I think he was hiding something. That's the door. Oh. Just lots of cigarettes. Sequin dress, postman's hat, duffel bag. I don't see anything else in here. Search Earl Sterling's house for clues. Yeah, there's nothing else that I can see that's worth taking or looking at. Anything you see?
No, I thought it was up. I feel like it was upstairs when I played, but...
Oh, you think?
I thought so.
Yeah, I don't really see anything up here that would... A sequin dress, a postman's hat. Let's jump down here. I don't really see anything else that's outside of the... Oh, maybe it's a paper on the ground? Nope. I don't see anything there either. Well, we could probably head out of here.
Odd.
Yeah, I don't see anything that he would have that's unique. But we can probably head out of here and find something else to do. There's plenty of missions to do.
Can you leave the house for a second and turn around and look at the front door? Was there something on top of his house?
I don't know. That's a good point. But the overall experience of the game, I think fits the fourth one very well because it's a full-blown, like, multiple areas. There's Nuka World as a DLC.
Yep.
There's, what were the other?
They had the harbor. That was
Far
one.
Harbor.
Yep.
Nuka World.
Yep.
And then one more on that. Can't remember off the top of my head. Fallout or Nuka World, Far Harbor.
The Automatron, the park.
Oh yeah, that's
the park.
right.
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. There was different ones where you could craft new things, new items. It's still saying that it's in here somewhere. Whatever I'm looking for, it's still saying like, nope. It's here.
Nothing in that drawer.
Nothing in the drawer.
Cabinet.
Nothing down there. Couch. Oh, there it is. Hidden away. The Mega Surgery Center, Dr. Crockett, resident surgeons, reconstruction surgery, facial, procedure to perform upon clearance of installment payments. Okay. So investigate the Mega Surgery Center.
How many caps does he want for, what does a surgery run these days?
Oh, probably like 125 to 250 caps.
Okay.
Equate that to dollars, I have no idea. There's not a really valid amount. So the location, the Mega Surgery Center, should be on the map since it's highlighted. And we just need to find the blinking. It's up this way. Oh, it's right in town. Again, it's right down the road here.
Well, this was one of the bigger.
Am I going right?
This was one of the bigger destination areas in the game.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of different like small little towns and.
I guess it's almost a hub
establishment, but that's always what I make of it. Is like there's one of every trader in town.
Yeah.
Everyone's thirsty. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Everyone's thirsty. There's a butcher. You got the medicine dude. Ooh, this is not. I don't know if this is.
It's looking a little like not clean.
Huh.
Dr. Sun. Hey. Cure me. No chems, cure health. No, that's not what we want. Yeah, we're supposed to talk.
I feel like I know where he does these surgeries.
Yeah, let's talk to him again here. Oh, do we have the audio up on this? No, it might be. Sorry if it wasn't. A receipt. Persuasion attempt failed.
Okay.
Might be time to pull out the
With the wallet.
the big guns.
Let's get back to talking about your medical.
Doc Crockett. Crocker.
Last time I saw him, he had to get something out of the surgery cell.
Because isn't the surgery center under him?
Story for that. No.
I do believe
Remember
so.
that?
We talk about your medical.
The surgery cellar.
That's where I get all my surgeries done. Is the surgery cellar.
Access to the cellar.
What does this look like? A public outhouse? You know what?
Oh, what we should do here, just so we can hear it, set up our subtitles. All right. I don't know when those will kick in here. I don't think they start in the middle of a conversation. Should we bribe?
Oh,
Or investigate?
let's see. I mean, how much money are you sitting on these days?
Oh, probably plenty.
Oh,
Let's just see.
Damn.
100 caps?
100 caps to visit the basement. Well, I guess it would be a harm.
Here, the key.
No harm to us,
Yeah.
certainly.
Understand?
Don't touch anything down there.
Okay.
Mhm. All right. Let's go check this out. Body parts laying everywhere.
Oh, it's just another fun thing in this game that, like,
Oh. Oh, no. it's looking horrible. Liquid nitrogen. Yeah, we'll take that. Oh! Don't try it.
I can fix anything.
Can fix that? You can fix anything. Earl Sterling?
Yeah?
Didn't do anything. It was Earl who didn't want to be happy. Well, is that Earl on the floor? Get a nice new face. Bad patients bleed all over the floor because they screw up their surgeon's life. Oh. Earl's death. I might have had just a bit of jet before operating, so I nipped a few arteries.
Okay.
Nice and simple. No pressure. I knew if Earl disappeared, everyone would just think the Institute took him. Violence. I think we'll listen to a little bit more. Why would people think the Institute took him?
That's what they've always done. As long as there's no body, everyone just...
There's no body and everybody just assumes. Wow, okay. Well, let's see what happened to Earl's body. To get rid of 200 pounds of cadaver without attracting much attention. The butcher shot. Oh no. Oh, okay, good. They were just throwing the meat in. You weren't eating meat. Curious. You really think you can get away? Doc Crocker. I've heard of Doc Crocker. Never does anything wrong.
No one will have any reason to question that.
I think we need to arrest him.
It's not my speed.
Let's arrest him. Kill the man, doctor. You're gonna pay for what you did. No one can find out. No one. Alright. Okay, Doc. I don't think you understand.
Yeah.
We can take Doc's key, the cellar key. We'll just grab everything. You might as well. We don't need all that junk, though. Yeah.
I'm rubbing that table, though, on the way out.
Owe you an explanation.
B. Press.
Let's go with that. Your partner was cutting Earl Sterling up into little pieces.
Why would he? Oh.
If he really did go through with it, and it went badly.
He really did go through. Dr. Crocker, that far to protect
his protection of his reputation. I think it's on your hands too.
Mm-hmm.
You let this happen, Doctor.
You let it happen. Oh, he's being too kind. He's done something before.
I should have known.
He's backpedaling. Like, yeah, it's bad.
I'll send the report to security and
send the report to security. Yeah. We'll let him live. But
Taking his stuff.
It's all red. See, the problem when it's red is they come after you. We'll leave it be. We've done our job here. I know. You handle things differently.
A little bit of a compromise.
Handle differently. Okay.
I'm gonna need to see a favor, multiple favors from that doc.
Right. If you never need to change
in the near future.
If you ever need to change your look or something like that. So that was it. I mean, that's just clearing like a really quick.
Sure.
Oh wait, we can go talk to Ellie. Ellie is. Who is Ellie? Where are they? So down at the bottom, you can kind of see what direction you need to head. So Ellie is down this way.
I think to your right.
No, in the
Other
back.
side?
In the back here. I think you were looking into it for Nick. So remember, Ellie is like his assistant.
Nick Valentine,
the detective of the area.
Is Nick Valentine the robot, right?
He's the android, yeah.
Or the android, right?
So yeah, she's the one sending you out. So that was a case that you need to cover for Nick while he's been missing.
Right.
So you're just
And
helping
I mean,
him out.
some of the quests are simplistic. They take a couple of steps. Some of the quests are,
Oh.
20 steps long to get there. So.
Okay. Crocker killing him.
Earl never went anywhere.
I have the Quantum, Nuka-Cola Quantum, because I've been to the Nuka World DLC in this game. Yep. Rotting in a cell. No, I just put him down. It was him or me.
Here, take this.
There wasn't going to be much talk.
Send word along. Down at the dugout and
See, Ellie gets it. Here's a little something for your reward.
Right.
Okay.
Pay me out.
I didn't feel like the doctor was giving you the respect you deserved.
Right. He knew he was caught.
Nick got a holotape from an old friend.
So then you get your experience, then you can move on and add that to your list of perks. I think we've already got a level. We can take a look at that here real fast. So if we go over here, we really don't want to hear from Ellie anymore. If we go in here, we can kind of see if we hit Y, we can choose our level or our perk. We've upgraded our level, so now we get a perk.
It worked a little bit different in this game.
Yes.
Where you had to build down your skill tree.
Yes. Yeah, you had to open it up to be able to bring in newer things. There's a lot that you can invest in. Like each thing can have 3 to 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So you add those in. So if I really wanted to be better at conversation, or you could upgrade your charisma skills and all that.
Yep.
If you wanted to be a better leader, you could do the local leaders thing. If you wanted to be like, there's a secret guy that shows up when I'm in trouble or need help, you do the mysterious stranger perk, and you can go up to 4 with him too. So he just jumps in and like starts shooting with you.
Yep.
Which is a great perk.
He's
actually.
activated on chance on Vats hits.
Yes, I believe you're right. So they all fall under that special: the strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. I guess you can even go up to 5. Let's do that one. We'll just call one. So that was our one level that we could spend. And now we can head out of here. You want to take a swing at it?
Sure.
Find a quest to do. We'll go full screen on it so you can see a little bit more of the game in its glory.
All right. Brooksy's in town.
Trouble's coming down the pipeline. They did a good game. Now, Fallout VR looks almost identical.
Yeah, it does.
Like, there is a little bit of difference here and there just because your perception, like the effect you get from VR where you're actually feeling like you're there.
Hey, Mo.
So that all kicks in on Fallout VR and it looks really amazing. I was playing it last night. We were going to show it tonight. It records weird on PC. Like, to be able to record it, you have to record the screen that's mimicking what you're kind of seeing in one eye of your
It doesn't do
VR headset.
Sony's got on theirs where just what you see in your headset is displayed on your TV as a flat image you can grab.
Yeah, and it's almost like the Sony one made it for like family members hanging out, wanting to see
Right.
what you're seeing in the game. I don't think PC has really cared or thought about like, oh, there's a big PC capable of handling VR sitting in the middle of the living room,
Right.
and the whole family's going to crowd around it. Normally, it's a much more tight-knit. I'm playing in front of a monitor normally, but then I bought the VR headset, so I'm still sitting in a chair, or I have a room dedicated to gaming kind of thing.
Right.
Or where my PC is. That's kind of more what they have, and they don't really have a way to express that or showcase to other people what it looks like
Right.
on a screen. But it's okay. I mean, it works out well, and the game looks phenomenal. We'll have a video on the webpage for it. And by the way, I'm going to go in and link all these into chat here while Brooks is playing, so you can find each of the games easily if you want to check them out on the stream. And we're going to we're going to take this video and put it on each of the Fallout pages.
Yep.
Since it's the entire franchise being played or shown tonight, kind of thing. So let me go and pull those now, and I'll drop those right in the chat. What did you end up choosing on there?
I took a pretty basic quest. Somebody needed some paint, so we're gonna go off. We're gonna go out of the city. We're gonna do a little exploring out there.
Yeah, get a chance to see what the environment looks like outside of the true city part of it.
I don't exactly remember where it's telling me to go, so we will find that out when we land.
Yeah, I'd almost say like we should probably show a little bit of like Far Harbor, but that's a little bit different. DLC, there's 50 or 60 hours worth of game right here in just Fallout 4.
Oh yeah.
And then to add in the other ones again, you're always adding like 5 to 10 hours, maybe more like 10 hours of content per DLC pack.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets to be a bit much. There is a collector's edition of Fallout 1, 2, and 3, or Fallout 1, 2, and Brotherhood Tactics. Brotherhood of Steel Tactics.
The classic collection?
The classic collection, which you get a little bit of a discount on. So, and if you sign up on Wild, anybody can go out there and sign up Wild. It gets you essentially a 14-day free trial, and you can buy any game for 10% off.
Yep.
At least 10% off.
Oh, there are ones that are 20
There are ones that are
30.
20 and 30, but these games here have a 10% discount on a majority of them except for the very, very high-end ones.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 and Fallout VR do not have a discount on them as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Yeah. But the rest of them, like the collector's pack, you get it for $19.99. I think each of the games are normally $9.99, so it's like $30 for $20.
Right.
And then you get 10% off, so you save additional $2. So let's pull all those up. So I'll throw the classic collection into chat, but the individual games are there on the service as well. That way it's easier to find. That's classic collection. I'm going to throw that onto Twitch as well. We were going to do Periscope, but Periscope's been giving us fits.
Yeah, we've had a couple issues.
We think that there's another WildTangent account on Periscope not connected to Twitter. Although I didn't know that was possible, but we could have made it separately years ago when they were separate companies.
Sure.
That's where my mind's going with that problem. And then we will also throw Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4 into chat as well here in a minute.
So now we're going to make some paint.
Nice. And we do, if you've never played these games, we have the fortune right now of playing on a save that has every location unlocked
Right.
in the game. You're not able to jump around as quick in the beginning. You kind of like walk a little bit of way through the environment, through the Commonwealth or the Capital Wasteland or the Mojave.
That's kind of what we were talking about though. Like when I started, that's like I'm all about it. Like go out.
Oh
you
yeah.
start unlocking travel points. Start unlocking the lanes. The story will be there when the story will be there. And I was kind of getting to that at some point. I really wanted to get out. Kind of start like getting some weapons, getting some gear, doing some leveling, doing some exploring.
Yeah, for sure. And if you can't find a game that you want, you can always use search on our website, or just Google Fallout 3 WildTangent, and it'll bring up the page for you. There's Fallout 3 going in the chat. Now we'll get New Vegas. Fallout 4.
You know, we had a fun time when we were playing 76.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and one thing that I'd like to see them take a swing at was, I always felt like that game was extremely big. Like it was really big, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't, when we were playing, we did more questing, building, exploring. We didn't get into very much kind of the player versus player stuff.
Right.
I'd be curious to see them maybe, I'm not saying you gotta ditch the multiplayer or whatever, but I'd be curious to see them on whatever they call 5, right? Do something where it's maybe more this style of questing, but maybe just do it with 2 or 4 players or something along those lines.
Yeah, you know, they've made a lot of... You know, it's kind of funny. They've made a lot of drastic changes to the way that they deal with their game worlds.
Right.
Scott has been heartbroken since they started doing this more like online push.
Sure.
You know, you got Elder Scrolls Online, the MMO. You've got the Fallout 76 world where it's got a connection. You've got Elder Scrolls Blades coming out on mobile where it's, you know, you're online and you're having to be connected online.
Yep.
And it seems to be most people are concerned about the amount of like in-app purchase.
Sure.
Right? That's kind of the thing that's making everybody a little bit nervous. The idea of it, though, I mean, they've done a really good job with them. I think it's more along the lines, my complaint would be server reliability.
Right.
That's been the bigger issue. Especially having your game 100% online. You have to be online no matter what. It for some people, it doesn't work out. Like for me,
sure,
I live out further than most people, and my internet connection is not amazing. So having a rough time with the server means I have to shut it down, restart it more often. I have to do a lot of different things to enjoy the game, and that was a little bit of a, you know, take a deep breath, get through it until you get to the fun parts again. And then we've found a lot of fun.
Oh, we even had people jumping in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
And we would have, 4 or 5 sickos, and they're like, you guys are playing this game having fun? We're like, no, we're all 6 of us in chat in a game that we're not having any fun with and have made the decision to keep having fun.
Exactly.
What kind of question is that?
What do you people expect?
And it's, some of that stuff of like, I think, this kind of also happened with a couple other games recently where just like, there were times when I was not happy with Anthem. There's been times when I've been not happy with Destiny.
Not every game can be great 100% of the time.
And there's even times when I always feel like we can look past X, Y, or Z little issue we bump into.
Yep.
Oh.
I think there's some problems. Can you throw it into Vats? Let's show you a little bit of that. So this is what Vats looks like in 4, where it's actually slowing down time. In other versions, they've stopped time altogether.
Boom!
And you can aim where you need to, take a head off or two, let people know you mean business. And you get so many action points, and those action points rebuild after a period of time. So you can't like just 100% use Vats constantly. There are some cases where you can put enough perks and skills and unique things together to get Vats like almost every time.
Pretty
call it up. But you have to make a build and kind of go after specific items for that type of thing. So a little bit different, but it's a fun game, and Vats is meant to be like, you get to use it sporadically here and there, but as you get more powerful, we get higher levels, you're going to be able to use it really a lot in comparison to when you start.
Yeah.
It looks like you've got your hands full. I don't know if there'll be much more left in Diamond City. I remember one time Brooks and I were playing GTA 5. We were starting to do a heist. It was right when they launched the heist. We get in the car, we're in there with, what was the little weasel's name?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember what his name was.
I forget. But anyhow, he shows us where to go. We come back around, and he's on the horn, on the earbuds. He's like, okay, go into here, and you know, you don't want anybody...
No witnesses.
No witnesses.
No witnesses.
And I took it as, like, no witnesses was, you don't want trouble.
Right.
Right? You don't want, like, people knowing your face.
Right.
You put on the mask and you go in.
Yeah.
Brooks took it as, I take a shotgun to everybody as I walk through the
No
door.
witnesses.
No witnesses. It's like,
no witnesses left.
yeah, there was no mistaking what he meant, and wiped them out. And I think, did we have to restart?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We laughed about it because it immediately failed. It immediately failed the mission. I was like, what?
I'm in there working on the safe, and Brooks is out there. I've got everything under control. Witnesses.
I don't even know how these guys got on that at me because I did not start shooting.
Something set them off. Yeah, they were set off when you were walking up.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what they ended up not liking you for. Oh. He walked in front of my bullet. Okay, well, you took care of the piece. Yeah, I noticed right when you were walking into the Diamond City, they were trying to target you.
I didn't catch what I.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
when you're out here, I don't know why.
I couldn't hear what I did to trigger them. So.
Yeah.
But that's kind of one of the things that's fun about this game is you can like.
You can play like this, though.
Good, bad. You want to go in. Greg didn't want to steal. Hey, you know what? Sometimes there's just things on the table.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Right.
Yeah, no, and you can play it just like this all you want, which is awesome. You know, the freedom of decision really is showcased in these games.
We have sat around and we've had a conversation where a few of us will be talking about this, and it's one of those games where I'm like, what did you do in the game last night? And you're like, I did this. And we'll ask our other buddy, and we're like, what'd you do? And he did that. And nobody ever really has everyone's experience or their playthrough is unique in a lot of different ways, right? Whether there was choices that were made or not made, or discoveries, or, you know, how you choose to play, who you associate with, so...
Yeah, you can kind of make it the way you want. Two people can go through the same mission and have completely different experiences.
The thing that also helped me a lot with this one was they did some quality of life to kind of like the FPS and the control and whatnot. So you can really...
I wonder if they did that, not necessarily... Well, they did it obviously to increase the quality of life, right? Like you said.
Sure.
But I wonder if they were like, we know we're putting this into VR when they were making it. Would they have known 5 years ahead of time how well VR would be received?
Whether they would know how well it would be received, I gotta think that you're partially right, that someone was there and being like, well...
We're really going to make it stop.
We're talking about this idea down the road that when these headsets get here, so...
Yeah. Who knows? It's always interesting. You know, you'd love to sit and listen to like their design doc ideas, like right at the beginning. I mean, Todd Howard has shared. If you don't know who he is, he's the actual designer of most of Bethesda's like big RPG games, like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and then like
I think he's pointing on the next
Elder Scrolls 3, Elder Scrolls 4, Elder Scrolls 5.
I think he's pointing on Starfield next.
Yeah, I think he's really involved in everything, and he leads it. And he shared some interesting stuff from his notepads on like the 25th anniversary of Elder Scrolls. He showcased his like notes on Skyrim, like the first meeting they ever had. He took a picture of it and put it up on Twitter. And it was hard to read. Like, obviously, it's done in his handwriting, right, when he was sitting there.
Right.
And, like, basically, everything he had written down is what showed up in the end game, which is crazy.
Interesting.
So I'm sure that it would be interesting to see them, like, go VR, you know, kind of in a note.
Bullet point, yeah, like new hardware technologies or something.
Yeah. I'm sure they'd found something. Yeah, it's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful world that they build. It's destruction. It's what did Gears of War call that?
Call what?
Their world. It
Like-
had a name.
Like the planet that it was on?
No, this was the design of the architecture and how it was destroyed. Cliffy B
Oh.
kind of called it something. It was something destruction, or eloquent destruction, or
Oh, I know what you're talking
I'll have
about.
to look that up while we're here for another minute or so. Probably going to call it soon on a little bit of Fallout 4. Call it good on Fallout franchise.
Yeah, ended up, because I think this is at the school, so this is what's supposed to be MIT, the equivalent of that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're over close to MIT right there.
In this game, it's not called MIT, it's called CIT. I apologize.
Is it called CIT?
They changed
Oh,
the name
gotcha.
of it for whatever reason, right?
Yeah, there could be some concern with that. Yeah, I'm looking here. I don't really see what they call it, but that's what it reminds me of. It's built in a way to have the end of the world, the apocalypse, look unique and breathtaking, and you have all this freedom to go and enjoy the environment that they put you in, right? And you know, the design is down to the details of what's inside of the factories that were there, and what's the last Coke or Nuka-Cola that was left on the line when it was being produced, and stuff like that. The raindrops on the visors, you know, and
Right.
because right now Brooks is in his own mech suit, as we've seen, but if you step out, I think you've done that once or twice. He looks, fully clothed in his unique outfit that he has on. Is I forget what it looks like.
Oh, I'm so over encumbered
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, you've got to get back in that suit. But you can even see like the detail of taking damage in Diamond City. He lost the armor plating on the leg and the arm. Those are all things that they carry through, and the details are what make the game, for sure.
I will very much look forward to see what they do next, which, as far as I know, is in fact that Starfield.
Yeah,
project.
Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. Which, speaking of Elder Scrolls, next week, I'm going to jump off here and get back to our mainframe. Next week we'll be doing the entire Elder Scrolls franchise.
Yep.
And we're going to bring a couple surprises that you may not know about to the show, so you can find those. But it's an excellent game, or it's an excellent franchise, and we're looking forward to covering that as well.
Yep.
Because they've got a lot to talk about in that one. But we hope you appreciated looking at some of the games here in Fallout franchise, Fallout universe. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about Fallout as we go. We may try to get some VR
Right.
into this, at least show that. Definitely on the... I think what we'll probably try to do is put the VR video that was captured onto the VR game page when it goes up tomorrow.
Right.
And you at least get to see a little bit of the game inside. Because it is hard to imagine how much more involved you feel when you play the game.
Definitely.
Like, it really is done in a way that makes it a reality that you're not used to. And some of the cool things you can do,
For sure.
ducking behind cars, and you're actually like ducking down and shooting around the corner, and there's a lot of cool stuff in it. And they made it really convenient to play it that way.
It's the first time VR units had come and gone in some capacity, whether they were at malls or stores or whatever. It was the first time this generation when they had that kind of that spatial awareness, and there was really the whole like,
Oh yeah,
you
you
know,
had
to-
the whole experience of looking through it,
yeah.
seeing it in a different way. And we appreciate everybody hanging out here for us and checking out the videos. The links are in chat. If you have any kind of advice, leave that in the comments. If you have any interest in telling you what your favorite Fallout game is, leave that in the comments as well. We'd love to know, because we have a great time playing it. We've played a lot of it, each of us, and we always like to talk about it. So if anybody wants to chit chat, hit us up. Definitely next week we'll see you with the Elder Scrolls franchise. If you haven't followed us, follow us now. Subscribe and click that notification bell to get notified when we put games up, videos up, things like that. We've got plenty of content going up and planned, and we hope to see everybody back here next week.
Yep, pretty much new stuff every day.
Always. Okay, folks, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday. Thanks.
Later.